Issues and Tissue, a contemporary magazine program that engages and discusses issues of development within and outside the state. The program brings to the fore ranging topics like education, politics, agriculture, just name it, while we examine the nitty-gritty of the issue in focus. Join me, BC Akpaida, every Wednesday on African Independent Television, AIT, for an exciting time. Issues and Tissue. If we can think it, we can discuss it.
All right, thank you for joining us on another very exciting edition of Issues and Tissue on African Independence Television, AIT. My name is Nosareme Uso, and it's good to be in the studio again today with you. I'm hoping that you would have a very exciting moment on the program today. Now, talking about media and the advertising industry. Now, you cannot take away advertising from media. Most media houses today thrive on the back of advertising, contents being aired, whether on print or on electronic media. On the program today, I will be discussing with some officials of APCON, that is the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria. Quickly, I would like to introduce by my left the head Southern Operations for the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, Mr. Charles Obasi. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
I'm excited to be here.
All right, and to my far left, I have the liaison officer for the Advertising Practitioner Council of Nigeria, Edo and Delta region, Mr. Akim Oyanola. Okay, thank you for joining us on the program today. Let me start with you, the head Southern Operations, Mr. Charles. Now, tell us what APCON is all about. That is the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria.
Okay. Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria is a federal government agency under Federal Ministry of Information. APCON as a body was created by an act called Act 55 of 1988. That act gave APCON a mandate to regulate advertising in all its aspects and ramifications in Nigeria. The other mandate is to determine standard and knowledge and skill required by those professing to be an advertising practitioner. We also register practitioners in advertising and then keep register of practitioners to identify our members. These are some of the mandates given to APCON in Nigeria.
Mr. Akim, now, how would you describe the state of regulation so far? That is, the body, APCON, how would you describe its work in terms of regulating advertising in Nigeria?
Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria has established itself, just like my colleagues mentioned, that we regulate advertising practice or communication in all ramifications, in the sense that all advertisements, be press, radio and television, in fact, before they even air advertisement, they must be verified by APCON.
Okay.
So on that note, all the media houses are required to request for advertising standard panels certificates. ASP is the acronym ASP. These advertising practitioner standards, ASP, is a statutory committee that looks into the advertisement concept in all ramification. They look at it whether it's conform with the law that established APCON. Look at it whether it's honesty, whether it's not offensive to the society. So when they look at it and they are satisfied with the concept of advertisement, they will now give approval to be aired.
Now, with the emergence of social media and with subsequent offensive, advertisements in the social media space, now, how will you rate the performance of ASP?
So I will rate them high because their function has been helpful in regulating the advertisement in all ramification, because we have observed that in some advertisement concept, some being offensive to society. So when such as advert to the panel, they will look at it and they will adjust, they will advise necessary for the advertiser or the agency to amend before it will be taken out for public hearing.
Mr. Charles, what are some of the things the Advertising Council or the panel, that is the ASP, looks at in scrutinizing an advert before it is satisfied to be able to go on air?
ASP is that was created by Act 21. This Act 55 of 1988 I talked about before.
Yes.
Was later amended by Act 93 of 1992, and that what brought about ASP as a standard committee. It's a statutory by law. It is their duty to clear these advertisements before they are exposed to the Nigerian public. And there is a reason for that. The reason is that the council believes that there are some claims that owners of businesses could make about their product and services that may be injurious to the society.
Okay.
And that is what they look out for when an application is made for the clearance of advertisement. If it is radio, you will listen to, you will present your script as well as your audio. Okay. We now listen to it. If there is a claim you make, in which way, is it color, or is it in standard or quality? Who did you engage in contest from where you emerged the best? So such descriptive languages are not allowed in advertising. So ASP actually is there to protect the Nigerian society. You see a situation, you cannot use a minor, the children, for instance, to advertise alcohol. Yes, you cannot use a pregnant woman to advertise alcohol. So these are the issues we look out for. Those claims you are making about your product or service, is it okay? Is it what should go to the Nigerian public? If it's not, ASP will remove it. And you know that ASP is a representative of all the sectorial groups in advertising. When sectorial groups, we have the BON, Broadcasting Organization, is represented. 2 people represent BON at ASP. The same thing with the Newspaper Proprietors Association, they are represented at ASP. The Advertisers Association, ADVAN, they are represented at ASP. The
CPC.
CPC is represented. The Women's Society is represented. NAFDAC is represented through the Federal Ministry of Health. So all these are body one, that's the Association of Outdoor Agencies in Nigeria.
Okay.
So all these are people that sit down and look at that material you presented. And if there is any claim, offensive claims, unsubstantiated claims you make.
So I want to quickly clarify NBC and APCON, or NBC and the ASP. Yeah. Is there a difference between what they do?
Of course, yes. So if you look at our role is to regulate advertising. Their role is to license stations as well as check your programs. In your program, there is some words you are not expected to use. There are some statements as satisfied by their code, because APCON is operating based on their code. and the NBC is operating based on their own code. So, you know, the cultural sensibilities of Nigerians, that what we are guarding against. We are guarding against. Just as NBC can say, this thing is not good to pass to the Nigerians. APCON as well can say when it comes to advertising. But you know, NBC role is not limited to advertising. It's beyond advertising. Because in your programs and programming, you know, they look at it. If, while you are presenting, for instance, this program, if you make some statements that does not satisfy their code, they can penalize you for that.
Let's talk about people in the rural areas, for example, who want to place adverts on the media, whether the electronic or the print media, and they do not have access, or they might not have heard of APCON, such a body that regulates advertisements in the country. How do you get to those people?
So if anybody comes from anywhere, maybe a local person that does not know, so I want to advise. So the first thing to ask, where is your ASP certificate? So if you ask what is it, they have to begin to explain to them. That's why we always clamor that all our stakeholders, especially those who work in the marketing department, have to register, because during the course of registry, they will know all this what I'm saying. They'll be able to explain it to the people. But in absence of that, if prevention, even the person in charge of the advertisement in the media house is not registered, or he doesn't even know about APCON, if a such advert is exposed, we maybe through radio or through television or any medium that we normally monitor, so we go there, we call the owner of the advertiser, the owner of the advertisement. Do you aware that this advert has not been vetted by APCON? So from there we explain. If he takes it in the right manner, we take time to explain to the person what he needs to do. Come to our office, just explain to you. So if he doesn't want to be, so now we now go to the media house. Don't you know that you're supposed to tell them that this advert will also be verified by APCON before you? Because according to our code, Article 140 of advertising code is divided into 4. Right? We have 140A, 140B, 140C. That talks about sanction. That if a media house exposed an advert that has not been verified or certified by ASP, Advertising Standard Panel, the media is liable to a fine of 500,000 naira. B of it talks about agency. Was agency expected, advertising agencies expected to know everything that surrounds advertisement? So if an agency that's supposed to know better create an advertisement and follow it up to where it is being exposed without verified by APCON, is also liable to same amount of sanction. So same thing with the advertiser, the owner of the business that does not know. So you know there is nothing like, there's nothing about the law that you don't. I don't know when it comes to when law wants to take a stand. I don't know. Does not happen there. So you have to know. You have to ask questions before you carry on in a particular activity.
All right. It's Issues and African Independent Television (AIT). Speaking with representatives from the Advertising Practitioner Council of Nigeria, Mr. Charles. Here is the head of Southern Operations, and I also have Mr. Kim, who is the liaison officer for Edo Delta region. And we'll be right back on the program to continue the discussion. Stay with us.
Issues and tissue. If we can think it, we can discuss it.
All right, thank you for staying with us. It is Issues and Tissue on African Independent Television, AIT. I am Nosare Meuso, and I'm here with some of you from APCON, that is Advertising Practitioner Councils of Nigeria. I have the head of Southern Operations, that is Mr. Charles Obasi, and I also have Mr. Kim, who is the liaison officer for Edo and Delta region. Now, coming to you, Mr. Hakim, tell us about your operations in Edo and Delta region.
Thank you very much. We we started the operation of our operation in Edo Delta region precisely this January, so
That's 2021.
2021, and we are able to go around virtually all the radio stations, television stations in Edo State to give an announcement to sanitize the presence of the APCON in Edo State. So we have been here before, around 3 weeks ago. We are here at the station to on a courtesy visit to explain, to describe what APCON is all about and what to and why are we here and what do we need from Edo people, the cooperation from the media house, cooperation from the society, and we have been receiving cooperation, but not to the full maximum, because we observe that some local people have not even know what APCON does or who APCON.
Okay.
So that is why we still need to intensify efforts in our campaign.
Before now, that is, you said you just came into Edo, that is this January.
Exactly.
Now, before now, it means you have not been operating in this region, that is Edo and Delta.
No, we do. We have a zonal office in Onitsha that covers Onitsha, Delta, Edo, but the distance is too wide.
Okay.
It can't be effective because coming here maybe once in 2-3 months.
Yes.
So now it's okay. We notice that for APCON to be effective in this Edo Delta area, we have to establish an office here. That's why we made an office here.
Now, over the years of you carrying out your duties in let's narrow it down to Edo and Delta region, how would you rate performance of advert placements on the media space?
Of course, we have not been getting compliance, especially from the media houses. Though when I moved around on courtesy visit, I discovered that majority of people performing advertising function are not registered. So some said they don't know the value. Some said because they don't know it's necessary for them to be a registered member. And I told them, if you're an accountant now, you have to be a chartered accountant to be recognized as a accountant that practice to a full-fledged. So I was able to convince some of them, and even those that were registered, they are not up to date because we are very far from here. So some people complain that because it's difficult for them to go to other states to go and regularize their practice, all those things. So that's why I'm here and let Benin people know that APCON is here and we are here to carry the activity with the compliance and cooperation.
The question I want to ask is, do you blame the media houses more, or you blame the advertising agencies that creates some derogatory statements in their adverts?
Nigerian system, from some people know what they are doing. They might be doing deliberately. Want people to tell them what they are doing is bad. Let me put it in another way. People that do bad, they know what they are doing is bad, but they don't want people to tell them this what you are doing is bad. They are advertising agency. They are professional, so to say. So they should know what is right from what is wrong, and they are being guided by this rule. So they should know that this is what this is an ethics of advertisement, and this is what we should do. But because Nigerian, they always want to do the law, so it's a common thing. Nobody is looking at me, or nobody is after me. I can do what I like. But now, say when there is no law, there is no crime. Now law is on the ground. Everybody should know what's expected of them to do.
Talking about the advertising agency, do you think these advertising agencies doing business in Nigeria, have they lived up to global standards in terms of ethics?
But for me, I would say they've lived up to, and I have my reasons for saying that.
And what are the reasons?
The agencies, you see, majority of the agencies operating even here in Benin, they are coming from the west, that's Lagos. because almost 80% of advertising business is in Lagos. And when you get to Lagos, you see that the standard of the agencies have gone high. It's in this part of Nigeria that we are still having agencies that are just rising up. They've been performing their own side of the road they're supposed to perform, but what we are talking about here is the issue of exposing advertisements or wholesome advertisement that is not clear by advertising standard panel. It's illegal. The process is that whoever has an advert to present to the Nigerian public should first of all send it to advertising standard panel for clearance. After that, that panel will give them a certificate, which we now bring to the media house. And you know the media house is also a gatekeeper. It is also lies on the station or the media house to ask whoever is bringing that advert about the advertising standards panel certificate of clearance before exposing it. That's the only way the station could help the practice to grow, because it's all of us that are being protected in whatever action we are taking.
Now, your fine or the sanction, do you sanction the media houses or you sanction the advertising agency?
Well, if I'm to start, even if the way the law is being arranged, I told you that Article 140 A, B, C. Then the A states that media house is supposed to know that whenever they bring an advert, hey, where's your ASP certificate? For their failure to ask for such certificate, they will be sanctioned.
They are liable.
They are liable to sanction. No, so it's believe that because even when agency know, they will say they know, they didn't tell us. But when we now write three of you, the agency, the advertiser, the media house, and we will know who fought originally.
You sanction the three.
We say, yeah, exactly.
The practitioner that created that.
The media.
Even the practitioner is four. No, it's
okay, it's four.
Yeah.
Okay, that is the media.
A is the media. B is the agency.
The agency.
Three is the advertiser, and the fourth are the
practitioner
who created this advert.
Okay.
Because the law says you shouldn't practice ad without being registered with it. So
right.
It's also illegal.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Charles and Mr. Akin, for joining us on the program today. Now, before we go, just your final words. You know, the advertising agencies and the advertisers themselves. What do you have to say to them? And if you can, tell us some of these derogatory words or statements that should not be used in adverts.
My last word to the advertiser and advertising agents, especially in Edo State, here is that APCON is saying in Edo State now, they should do the needful. Should bring the adverts so that we guide them on what to do. Because if I start mentioning the derogatory word, is that there is so many. But when they come around, oh, this is my advert. Look at it for me. I will tell, okay, this is what's supposed to do, is not supposed to do, and the panel will look at it, and once it's approved, yeah. And another thing is that people are saying, if you create a jingle, listening, so you can use that jingle for a whole year. It lasts for a whole year, so you can play it in any media house for one good year. So I don't know why people are afraid to come.
But do they have to pay for to bring an advert to your office for scrutiny or checking? Do they pay for that?
Yes, of course they pay. Because we have because the people that like just my boss mentioned that the advertising panel is comprised of so many people from sectoral groups. So they will have meeting. They will pay for their meeting, sittings, allowances, all those things.
So thank you very much, Mr. Charles and Mr. Akin.
Yes,
thank you very much. You had a very exciting time on the program Issues and Tissue on African Independence Television, AIT. We'll be here again same time, same station next week, Wednesday. Don't go anywhere. Have a wonderful day. Take very good care of yourself. Remember, COVID-19 is still around. Always wash your hands, use your face mask wherever you are going. And if you are in a public place where there's so much crowd, try to maintain social distancing. My name is Nosareme Uso. Until I meet you again next week, have a wonderful time.
Issues and Tissue, a contemporary magazine program that engages and discusses issues of development within and outside the state. The program brings to the fore ranging topics like education, politics, agriculture, just name it, while we examine the nitty-gritty of the issue in focus. Join me, BC Akpaida, every Wednesday on African Independent Television, AIT, for an exciting time. Issues and Tissue. If we can think it, we can discuss it.